Emerald Valley Ranch in Caribou has been instructed to destroy this year's broccoli crop after an illegal pesticide was found by the Maine Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry.
Rothry Sullivan has more on the story.
The farm admitted to using the illegal pesticide after an investigation was launched. Jim Britt of the Maine DACF stated that an investigation on the farm was prompted after an anonymous tip. He said, upon receiving the tip, a BPC environmental specialist visited the farm to conduct an inspection, interview field workers, and collect numerous plant and soil samples. The inspection and subsequent laboratory analysis confirmed the use of chlorpyrifos. The farm voluntarily withdrew the product from sale and began destroying the crop. 2 investigations are ongoing by the Board of Pesticides Control and 1 by the Division of Quality Assurance and Regulation. The farm admitted to applying the pesticides on their broccoli crop and in other fields, which laboratory results confirmed. The state of Maine banned the use of the pesticide chlorpyrifos as of January 1, 2022, due to the negative health effects it may have on consumers. According to the CDC, chlorpyrifos can be dangerous when inhaled or ingested, as it can result in a variety of nervous system effects, such as headaches, blurred vision, and salivation to seizures, coma, and death. In a letter to Drew Ayer, the owner of Emerald Valley Ranch, Commissioner Amanda E. Beal of the Maine DACF ordered the broccoli crop to be disposed of immediately on site. The letter stated, "The broccoli, believed to be on refrigerated trucks at your farm and ready for shipment into commerce, is found to be unsound, potentially deleterious to health, or otherwise unsafe for human consumption, and therefore it is declared to be a nuisance." DACF will sample all broccoli that the farm intends to sell for the remainder of the season.